sa lipunang Pilipino. Kaisa sila sa marugdog na paghahangad ng kalayaan ng ating lahi. Kabilang sila sa paglinang ng ating makulay na sining at mayamang kultura. Kasapi sila sa pagtataguyod ng mga adhikain ng kapwa mamamayan at sa pagtugon sa mga pangangailangan ng lipunan. Katuwang sila sa pagtuklas sa mga larangan ng agham at medisina. Kapanalig sila sa pagpapairal ng batas, karapatan at katarungan para sa lahat. Kabahagi sila sa paglilingkod sa bayan at sa pagpapanatili ng demokrasyang Pilipino. Sa paglipas ng panahon, hindi nagmaliw ang kanilang pag-ibig sa ating inang bayan. Mga kababayan, ito ang alay ng mga kababaihang Pilipino para sa bayan. Tumayo po tayong lahat at sabay-sabay nating awitin ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Ayaw mag-ilim na sa silanganan, araw ng puso, sa litin mo'y buhay. Yung ang hihirang, ulit na ng pag-ibig, sa manlulungin, ito nagsisigil, sa nakatakot sa sigahan, sa lawin mo naman, kanina ang tunda at awit sa ngayong ginagawa. Isang lang magawal, ulit na lumay na nag-ilig. Pinag-araw na kanyang pamayasin. Lumayang araw na luwalay pag-ipan sila. Muli namin sa tingin mo. Ang hikaya na pag-ay magkakakit. Ang namatay ng nais sa'yo.
You may now take your seats. Before we get the program started, please grant us some time to take you down memory lane to give us some perspectives on how we were able to come up with this activity. In 2019, the Philippines called upon its higher education institutions to adhere to the internalization policy framework, transnational higher education law. As such, Central Bicol State University of Agriculture, through the initiative of the College of Development Education, decided to form partnerships with foreign higher education institutions, crucially establishing the international credit transfer program, or ICTP. Because of this program, students were able to enroll in foreign universities, and as a bonus, their faculty was also able to indulge in speaking engagements and research projects with partner universities despite the onslaught of the pandemic. Today marks the materialization of one of those speaking engagements, not anymore by way of an online platform, but in front of a live audience. Although we are being streamed live right now on Facebook. Ladies and gentlemen, marhay na aga sa inyong gabos. Salamat pagi, and welcome to the CBSUA On-Ram Academic Collaboration Lecture Series. At this point, we'd like you to focus your eyes on our LED screen to give you a short glimpse of the College of Development Education.
Central Bicol State University of Agriculture marked a new milestone for the Institute of Development Education as it became the College of Development Education in a Level 4 state university. With competitive students and high-caliber faculty members who are passionate to brave the new world and serve communities, are able to meet global standards as ISA and ISO compliant, and currently Level 3 AACOP accredited. This is CDE. Being a center of development in teacher education in the region since 2016, CDE supports the university as a valuable instrument in achieving its vision and mission. With its dedicated administration and dynamic faculty and staff, the college, with the university's trusts, which are instruction, extension, research and production, innovates, strengthens, and sustains valuable programs and projects that extends beyond CBSUA's reach. The college reinforces a systemic approach to maintain smooth planning process that supports quality assurance and intensifies collaboration through its creation of business and external affairs. From careful planning, monitoring and supervision, to review and improvement process, the system
People Borisa to do this enviable task.
Thank you, Mr. Mateo. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Diyos marahay na aga po sa gabos. Salamat pagi. It is my honor to introduce to you this morning a very astute man. Indeed, we are blessed because he is here with us. Let me start with the bio note given to me by the organizer. This man is a lecturer at the English Education Study Program at the University of Mataram. He was born, raised, and is based in Ungge, Central Lombok. His expertise includes English learning curriculum, teacher training, developmental psychology, and critical pedagogy. He graduated undergraduate from English Education Department of Universitas Mataram, Masters in Applied Linguistics from the University of Adelaide, and obtained his PhD in Education at Monash University with specialization in socio-cultural approach in researching teacher education. Our professor this morning serves as advisors in several social organizations in Lombok Island and the co-founder at Jage Castor Foundation, a volunteer-powered youth organization. He is actively organizing education, volunteering activities, and mobilized community efforts. For his social work, he was granted Community Solution Program Leader organized by the U.S. Department of State, where he interned at Chicago Youth Center in 2015. He will join the Community Solution Summit on Humanitarian Crisis Response in Romania this 2023. And he is currently supervising 2 student clubs at his university to spread the energy of social activism. On a personal note, he loves to be called Junet, which according to him is an Arabic word which means the invisible soldier. Ladies and gentlemen, help me in welcoming Dr. Ahmad Junaidi, or Junet.
Marahay na aga, Magayan, and Guapo. I'm always nervous about trying the local language to entertain the locals. Sometimes it can turn very embarrassing, right? But is that right, Magayons and the Guapos? Oh yeah, okay, now I scored both. Right. Thank you very much for the beautiful introduction, and Grace. Indeed, the invisible soldier, that is the meaning of my name. My parents don't know that. I had to find it by myself, the meaning of that. And then in relation to that, I have a personal note. This invisible soldier was attacked by a very severe back pain this morning, and it's so sudden, the first time I felt that in my life. So if I sit down a bit later, please understand that please do not take it as a national embarrassment, yeah? Because I'm representing my country here. Right, and this from the University of Mataram, and it is a great honor to see everyone here joining this lecture. I always say in every speech, in every class, it doesn't matter how much or how many people come to your speech or to your music performance or to poetry recital. It's about how much you give to those who come. So I hope I can give as much as I can today. And then if I may, today I'm going to be speaking about intercultural communication. It's about how we communicate with people with different values, different cultures, and then different ways of life. Because even though if we are close with each other, we share some physical features, we share some histories, we share some words even, but I believe that we have differences in the way we see the world. So, Sir Don, do I go on with the presentation or it's for later?
It's up to you, sir, but okay, we can let.
Oh, sorry.
It's up to you, but we can let.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, sure. So I need to go with the first presentation, please. Sorry. Oh, perfect. Yeah, that's what I need now. Okay. Yeah. Right. This, direct your attention to the screen. This is an event called Intercultural Night that we held for the first time in the university. Behind the two men with the Santa Claus hat is a mosque. Yeah? So we were experiencing this one, and the foreigners, and you see they're Caucasians, the Western, are speaking with some women with hijab and also traditional clothing of Indonesia. Now, this is what we want to have more in our university. So that's why we had a course called Intercultural Communication. And today I'm going to be speaking one aspect of the intercultural communication. Yeah. And if I go to the next. Oh, wait. Try next. Oh, yeah. Right. Let's start with imagining a scenario. Imagine being in a business meeting, yeah, and you are hosting that business meeting. And you are Filipino and you are Indonesians, and there are 20 people from 17 different nations. And then there are those who call themselves proudly Japanese. I am Filipinos, I am Americans, I am Iraqis, I'm Afghanistanis, and other nations are there. Now, would you think about the language that they will speak in? Think about how the Japanese will hand the business card. Have you seen the Japanese hand business cards? Yeah, with one hand or both hands? Yes, we know that, right? Okay, we see it from the movie. So will the Italian, which we know they're very touchy, will the Italians kiss the cheeks of the Indonesian women who are there? Think about that. And also, will the Indonesian, like me, will open the speech by saying, for example, glory to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and salawat salam Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Do I say that? Because we usually say that. And also, if you see there the acknowledgement of country in Australia, we always begin our speech by apologizing and paying respect. They say something like this: I'd like to pay my respect to the traditional honors of the land in which we gather here today. I'd like to pay my respect for the past, the present, and the future. Why? Because they feel the guilty, they feel the gratitude that the land that they are in now, the Australians, were once there, the native people. Yeah, we don't call them Aborigines now, we call them the indigenous Australian. So they open with that. Now the differences here in this summit is an example of how we should have some kinds of understanding so that we know how to communicate effectively with people without hurting feelings and without jeopardizing the possibility of good cooperation. So that's why when I'm in this unit, when I'm in this course, when I'm giving a conversation like this, it is not just to the cognition, but also it should be translated into behaviors. And now we are here, the Filipinos, and the Indonesians are here. We've been having some interactions in the last few days. And if you think that we did something impolite because we don't know, please forgive us. And we're learning. Oh wait. This is what I mean by the importance of intercultural communication, because we want to make the world a better place, and global problems need global solution through the global collaboration. And without the intercultural communication, I don't think we can have a very effective solving of the problem. And this is just first the introduction to what is the main presentation of mine, which is to contrast between the individual and collective culture. We will do that later, and we will do some kinds of engagement with the audience, but we will do that in about 2 minutes. Maybe. Oh, perfect. Yes, this is the challenges that we all face. I don't think that we have more challenges than this. So the great writer Yuval Noah Harari have said that there are 3 big challenges there. Okay, so we have a problem with climate change, we have problems with the nuclear threat, and we have problems with the development of artificial intelligence. So imagine artificial intelligence marry the bioengineering, and you can hack humans. You know those when you play with your phone and the next 1 hour you see the advertisement on your phone is very customized to what you're browsing, right? Yes. And they will one day read our blood pressure, they will read the heart rate and temperature, and they will know if we want to listen to love songs or rock songs. They will know that. It means that we are hacked beneath our skin. And that is one of the challenges, that maybe it is not in the SDGs because it is still in this discussion. But what I'm saying here is that we have so many problems that we have to solve with global cooperation, and the intercultural communication is one of the tools in doing that. Please ignore whoever I put there. It's not that I'm a fan of Vladimir Putin, or it's not that I'm a fan of Modi. I'm not a fan of any presidents in the world. To me, sometimes good politicians are bad politicians who never get caught. Maybe. Please don't take that as the representation of my country's opinion on stuff. But we want here to increase the cultural awareness. We want to improve the communication skill. We want to improve the personal and professional relationship and build cultural sensitivity. And a little bit about our roles. I think we can do this one. Oh, maybe I have to stay because the camera. Yes, and then we will be the learner, communicator, doer, and activist. It has levels there. So we learn something and we communicate it. When we communicate, sometimes we do some kinds of collectivism. You click and you think you're activist, but of course it's not. But of course it's not it's not that it is bad that we only work in online sphere. But I think calling ourselves activists by doing only clicking, even though it takes a courage, I think we can go further beyond that. And that's why we voice critical ideas to make the betterment in life. So let me sum up what we mean by intercultural English communication, because we communicate in English at the global level. It's the idea and act of using spoken, written, and multimodal English to communicate ideas in culturally different and diverse contexts for the purpose of increasing the well-being and benefits for both parties. It is very important to note there what we mean first by the word multimodal. It's not only the speaking, it's not only the writing, it's only the use of symbols. Even the way we take pictures send a message, right? That, like that, it's a symbol of peace, right? But what does it mean to be like that? Sorry. What does this mean? What? This means okay? Money? This one is money. No? Okay. In some cultures in Latin America, this means your idea is stupid. Zero. And not all of them, but in some areas. Okay? So this is what we mean by the importance of intercultural communication, right? What if I say, for example, now, Ma'am Cherry, for example, let's say, okay, and then I say, good idea, and then I say like that. She will think that I'm asking money, right? Is this money? Okay. Yeah, we need to solve that, and we should be given a class on that. Oh, wait. Oh. Okay, this is the elements of culture. Think about what you're wearing right now. Look at what you wear, and look at what the Indonesians are wearing. Yeah? Look at how we value personal space. Okay, I'm gonna ask the Manais here, the girls, sorry, that's the wrong one. Do you hold hands with girls? Yeah? And people will think that you're friends. What if you do that in a Western country? It's a different meaning of relationship. It's a different one in Indonesia as well. It's so common to hold hands, to hugs, and do a very, not getting very physical, okay? But the way we stand to each other, it's, it, it tells something about the value there. And then it means in one of the culture systems. So look at the social organization there. It's how we put individual in the collective. For example, what is your position in your family? Do you have the full power of saying something and you will be as respected as the father? Or you will have less voice in your family? It's the social organization. Oh, wait. Okay, and then we have the language there. It is a part of the culture, customs and traditions. Now, it is very risky to say religion is a part of the culture because some people don't want to accept that. But from the literature, we will say that religion is a part of a culture. And then arts and literature, of course, the poetry, the poems, the novels, it is a part of it, and it contains all the knowledge and the wisdoms. And forms of government, some countries, they prefer something more authoritarian. Some countries prefer the democratic form. And economic system. We hear here the capitalistic economic system and the I would say the socialist economic system, and also something that is called the social democrats now. It's so famous, like with Bernie Sanders, if you know, a figure from the American politics. And communication, it also has the aspects there, the source, the message, channel, receiver, feedback, the environment, context, interference. Source is now I'm sending you, this is the source of this communication, and the message is I'm telling you something about intercultural communication, and the receiver, the channel. The feedback is, for example, if I see you get bored right now, probably I'm gonna do something there. Like I'm gonna throw a joke, I'm gonna ask you to stand up, I'm gonna ask you what the meaning of this one, so you are engaged. So that's the feedback that I'm reading from you. The environment, let's say if it's too cold here, I think it will impede the way I effectively communicate because I'm gonna be conscious of my body temperature. The context and the interference. Now the context, if I'm speaking to the presidents of the universities all across the Philippines, I will adjust the way I speak to you, right? And then the interference, if We have problems if I don't understand English, if I don't speak English well enough, and then that will be the interference of communication. And that's the essence of the intercultural communication. It's the meeting of those aspects between the culture and communication. Trying to, yes. So think about this one. Have you seen that picture before? Have you seen that? It's a dead man. It's in Indonesia. It's in Sulawesi. It's the island of Sulawesi. It's very close to the Philippines. Yeah? Dead man getting dressed like he's still living the world as a handsome man. And then look at those lady with fully covered clothing. Now, Western radical atheists would call that a trash bag, because I know some writers in the West, they call that a trash bag, covered in a trash bag. Now, you might think that, okay, what about the deficit of vitamin D for that woman? But it is part of the culture. Why do we think that she's wearing that? Why? Now, and then that's the Indonesian selling food. The lady, she's also wearing the hijab, the headscarf. But sometimes some people say you're not supposed to wear that with the short sleeve shirt. It has to be covered. So it's a variation. Now we see that something on the surface, it has values below the surface. So think about iceberg. You have something that is seen, the top of the iceberg, but one bigger part is below the water. We will talk about the cultural iceberg later. And I have already explained a little bit about the social organization. It is one aspect. Remember, one aspect of the culture is social organization. So you see that picture there. Sorry, you cannot see this one, right? Okay. There's somebody here, if I may describe you for this audience. There are 3 policemen speaking to a woman. And this is what we call the sweeping of unmarried couple in hotels. We go to hotels and we ask, are you married or not? If you're not married, they will bring you to the police station. They will take note of the name and they will put you on newspaper. Not everybody, not many, but sometimes it's a common enough. It's common enough to be called common case. Yeah. So why do we have this in Indonesia but not in New York City? Let me ask you this: do policemen do that in Manila? No. Okay. Right. But we call ourselves collective culture. See, that's what I'm saying. We have so many things in common, but we have ways of doing stuff. We open our events by praying to the God. Both of us, we do. But we have different ways of upholding the religious teaching. Indonesians go by sending police to hotels and say that, oh, you're intruding the public harmony. Yeah? In Indonesia, mengganggu ketertiban umum, which means intruding the public harmony. And then language is, the difference in language is fundamental to our thinking. In my local language, we greet people by saying something like this: hey, where are you going? So nosy, like we're so curious of where somebody's going. But it's actually a greeting. When you're eating and then somebody's passing in front of your house and you say, hey, let's eat, don't take that literally. You're not invited to eat, it's just a greeting. But if you're hungry and you really like the food, and you can surprise the host, yeah, by saying, "Hey, you want to eat? Hey, why not? Let's go there." Right? Okay. It's the language. And I notice in the way we call ourselves the ate, the kuya, the manay, the manoy. And I called my professor in Monash in Adelaide, "Hey Dave, hey Chris, hey Anna," and it feels so. It's feel a little bit wrong saying that. So I always put that like a doctor or sir, and it feels so bad walking in front of them without bowing to them. Do you lower your body when you walk in front of elder people? Yeah, right. Yes. I was there and somebody was passing in front of me and then I noticed that the body lowered and oh yeah, okay. I feel like home. Yeah. Right. So the language. Let me traditions. Do you eat the feet of a chicken? Oh yeah, delicious. Remember that person who invites you to eat? Say, hey, where are you going? Hey, let's eat. If she's serving that chicken feet, you better stay. Delicious, right? But it's so not common in other countries. Hey, do you eat that egg with chicken in it? Oh, duck. Oh, yeah. We don't eat that one. Uh, that's how we're different that in culture. Okay? So please offer the food, the balut to my students so that they know, oh, you have to practice the intercultural understanding, everyone. Yeah. And then religions influence everything from personal behavior to social and political structures and can also provide a sense of community and identity for individuals within a culture. It's so unifying, right? Sorry. It's so unifying. When we are a part of the group, like imagine if we don't have that unification in religion. How many donations can we make in the name of non-religious goals, for example? Okay, and it has been researched. Indonesia is actually ranking it's actually the top country, the most generous country in the world, according to an agency, because we donate a lot. We have a system of donation called zakat, fitrah, and many types of donations. And I believe in Christian teaching as well. You have the schemes of donating. Actually, I received for my foundation, the first donation, major donation that I received was from a Christian friend. And now the class still stands there in the village, 100% Islam or Muslims. So that's how we respect the difference. And then the elements of culture that is next is arts and literature. Do you know Bali? The island of Bali. It's a very touristic island, very famous, even more famous than Indonesia. People know Bali, some people don't know Indonesia. There, the sculpture, they're so intricate and detailed, beautiful. In my island, we don't have this tradition. It is next to each other, the same, almost the same people, the different religion. But the way we view art is different. And then, do you paint? Can you paint David? So this is David here by Michelangelo. Yeah, this is David. But David has his vital part shown. Yeah. Can you do this? Can you put this statue somewhere here? Yes or no? Okay, now let's not ask yes or no. Let's ask if you agree if this statue is shown there in this campus center. No? Show of hands, please, if you agree. Show of hands, please, if you agree. Okay. Show of hands if you don't agree. Okay, you're still thinking about this. Different view about a naked man in a very artistic posture. Okay. And the government can range from democratic, authoritarian system to more traditional and tribal forms of governance. We know this one, but I don't want to dwell too much on this one. But yes, some people value individual power more than the others. We distribute powers differently. We give power to certain person, and it's a very long tradition of respecting someone. You don't have to do voting. We don't have to do general election. We just, okay, if you're a son of a king, you can be a king. And then people change their mind. No, even though you're a son of a king, we have to elect you. Yeah. So it's also value culture. Right. Oh, wait a second. This is the last, the economic system. If you see this picture here, it is how capitalism is pictured by those who criticize capitalism. Yeah. But some people say that we are now being more established, less hunger is because we are driven by innovation, and the innovation is driven by personal goal. Some people, somewhere, the geniuses, they're driven by innovation and the name for themselves. So they create lamps, they create this mic, they create the iMac, MacBook, and everything. So it's the power there. But different economic systems, capitalism, socialism, and traditional subsistence economies can have significant impact on the way people live and work within a society. It's the way we value, for example, who gets this and who gets that. So if we have this much money, how do we distribute it? Equality and the process and the equity there, conversation. Now that I've gone into the very general aspect of culture, this is what I mean by the cultural iceberg. So you see there, the way you dress, we can see that, right? Yeah? We can see how people dress modestly with hijab, and also the CBSUA students with a beautiful white uniform, and also the Indonesian students with the beautiful hijabs and Western shoes, for example. And I'm wearing now not a traditional one, but it is a part of also the culture of the university. And art laws here, the food that we eat, the etiquette. Etiquette is not the same thing as ethics. Ethics is the moral philosophy. Like, why is something bad? Why is something good? But etiquette is more like, how do we eat with the people? Do we burp? Do you burp after eating? Yeah? In front of everyone? No? Okay. In my culture, I burp to say, thank God for the food. Not the formal definition. I just made that up. But it's so relieving to burp. It's just okay. You burp in front of, but not in the city. Right. I'm just gonna skip this one. We have language barriers. We know this one. We don't have to talk about this. If I don't speak English, you won't understand me. The barriers, the problems with communication. Wait. I'm just gonna be quickly going to and cultural differences. Because of the differences in the way we respect the elders, we might have understanding. I think I call the Chris. Okay, I don't say I don't say the sir, and it makes me feel bad about it. Yeah, and then I felt so bad calling Boo Boy. It just feels bad. Does it mean something like there is a sir in it? No? Just a nickname. Okay, but I feel bad. So misunderstanding. Stereotypes and prejudice. Is it true that all Asians are good at math? No? Okay, what other stereotypes? Is it true that women are irrational and emotional? Whoa, 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 hold on there. Come on. Huh? Who here believes that women are irrational and emotional? More emotional? All right. Okay. Well, we can talk about the 5 big personality traits. Okay. And then there's something called neuroticism, neurotic. And yes, women are more neurotic. And you can ask your psychology teacher about this in the distribution. You can go, the devils are in the details, they say, so you have to learn more about that. What about this one? People say something like this, please do not take this too far, but this is a stereotype, okay? They say black people are good at sports, Muslims are radicals, they call terrorists, for example. People from the Middle East are extremists, Native Americans are alcoholics, people with disabilities are helpless and dependent. Now, these are all, like for example, we say older people are technologically illiterate. It's also stereotypes and prejudice. And it is also a problem in communication. But what we want here is that, hey, what is the stereotype in the Filipino? Filipinos are what? Oh, you can tell me later. Okay? You have the mic there. Yes. So I'm gonna stop here. That we know there are problems with culture. Can you please go to the second presentation? And I'm gonna be very quick about this in discussing the difference between the Filipinos and Indonesians and the way we view Western country. Yeah. Okay. So we have somebody there wearing the U.S. flag in the shirt. Is that, sorry? Yeah, you don't know. Okay, right. Um, we're gonna. It's not U.S. Sorry, I think I'm wrong. Okay, right. This is the main part of my presentation. I was just doing the introduction there, and please, sir, let me know if I'm. Oh yeah, my time. Do I still have like 10 minutes, 15 minutes? Oh, great. Okay. Now, can we have, first before we go on, can we have the papers delivered to, can we have that? Yes. Please, volunteers, please help the ma'am and the sirs spreading. You don't have to get them all. And I want everybody to just, maybe one paper, 3 people. That would be all right? All right, everyone, can we please have a moment of engagement here? Right, I'm starting to feel my. Um, but okay, guys, coba bisa ngambil sampai audiensnya kelihatan semua nanti dari belakang itu? Enggak, dari di sini maksud saya, pas slide yang ini. Foto dari belakang, biar audiensnya bisa kelihatan lebih banyak, mungkin dari angle. Sorry, bahasa Indonesia. I'm sorry that I speak Indonesian. I was telling something. Okay, everyone. Now, I have to wait. Okay, now you cannot stay in your place. Please, everybody, please stand up. Please stand up. Bring And then you have Indonesians here, and you have people from maybe different places and different values, different philosophies, the progressives, the conservatives. You know this. We have different opinions on things. So now you have to find somebody who believe, number one, you have to find somebody that believe that parents should not be the final decision maker of who the sons or the daughters can or cannot marry. Do you believe that parents should not be or they should be? Indonesians, don't stay in your place, you have to mingle. Write down the name of the person. Write down the name. Haris, what you're doing, kamu video aja. Video dan foto. Video dan foto. Aktivitas semuanya. All right, okay. Now let's go to number 2, everyone. Number 2. Number 2, do you agree with Qatar, the host of the Soccer World Cup, banning alcohol in the stadium? Thank you very much. Fill them all. Fill the names. Number 1 to 10. You have to get them all. I'm just gonna try and see what they do. Done. Okay, you need to feel. All right, everybody, can I have your attention? Can I have your attention, please? Right. Can you please go with number 7? Find somebody who agrees. And please go to number 14. Do we believe that universal values we should abide by? To Nita, ajakin temannya balik. Udah. Thanks. Thank you, everyone. Wow, it's so lovely to have the engagement. All right, now I need a show of hands. It's not. You don't have to. It's not the show of hands of people who agrees or disagrees. It's the show of hands who find people. Okay, so you don't have to reveal yourself. Yeah. Please raise your hand if you find people who believe that, number one, parents should not be the final decision maker. Okay. All right. All right. Okay, now I need people who found people who agree that parents should be the final decision maker. Yes, one. We have this. That if the parents say no, and then no, right? Okay. Yes says, okay. Right. Number 2, no alcohol in the stadium. Agree? Yes, raise your hand. Okay, all right. Most from a family that do not allow women to hang out later than 10 p.m. Okay. Show of hand if you are allowed to. Okay, thanks. Yes. Okay, are you from a family that do not allow, sorry, is from a family that does not interfere with personal choice of belief in religion? I think we don't. Do we have this one? Do you find people? No, I'm not asking the people, the person. I'm asking somebody who finds the person. Okay, but okay, right, cool. Oh, this one, number 5, is from a culture where it is very rude to burp after eating. Is it rude? Rude? Oh, okay, yeah, we see some hands. Okay, number 6, do you call high school teachers the first name without the Mr. or the Mrs.? No, we say teacher, right? Teacher Anna or teacher Chris. Number 7, do you agree that Western countries are extremely individualistic? Show of hands if you agree. Show of hands if you agree that Western cultures are individualistic. Individualistic. Okay, we will talk about the meaning of that. Thank you very much, sir and sirs and the ma'ams. Is it okay to be 5 minutes late in Philippines? Oh, okay. Is it okay? Now you're okay. This kind of event, if it's delayed for 20 minutes, is it common? No, is it? I'm saying no. Is it good or bad? I'm saying is it common? Okay, I'm gonna ask the Indonesians here. Is it common for an event like this to be delayed for 30 minutes? Now the bigger yes is there. Because we got to wait for the president of the university for sometimes like an hour or the governor. Yeah, it's just okay. Right. Do you have something called like the rubber watch? It means that it's okay to be not on time because we have the rubber watch. You can stretch. Yeah. Ah. Ah. What do you call that in here? What does it mean? Like something like rubber band or rubber watch or like oh wait, no, sorry. Hey. Oh right. Number 9. Oh yeah, that. Number 9. I thought I'm speaking to friends. Okay, right. Number 9. Quota system. It's a serious one, and you will face this one day. You will be politicians. You will be people who are old and make decisions. Do you believe that we should give 50% quota for women? Yes? Yes? So, okay, I'm going to challenge you on this one. So you have competent people running society, right? They want to be leaders. And then would you allow, for example, there are like 100 competent men and you have also like 50 competent women. If you go by the quota system, you will put these 50 women there and then you will not do the selection on the men, which means that we are reducing the access to the talents of human because we don't do the selection based on the competence, but we give the quota. This is what we call equity. Okay, but I'm not going to engage you to that in a way that it's real. Oh, but it's real. Now we give quota, right? There are quota for women in the House of Representatives, the lower house. You call that Congress? Congress? Yeah. Okay. Now, do you agree if we give 50%? 50%? Or we should just select them by the competence? Okay, 50%, but after the selection, yes. There is the range where it can be balanced, yeah? There is a range of it. But I'm happy to just get your opinion on that. Is there a culture that means no? Nodding? Do you, what does this mean? What about this one? Okay, what about this one? All right, hey, what about this one? Check check that out. Like for example, that. Yeah. What about this one? This means in man's language, it means I need to talk to you. And what about this one? It means look at that. Yeah. For example, look at that beautiful girl, for example. What about this one? It means I give you my highest respect. So like I'm very respectful. But it's something that I got from the internet. I'm not sure if it's true. Okay. Right. Okay. Do you feel it's okay to compliment a stranger's dress? All right. Let me try this one. I'm a stranger. I'm a stranger. We are at the airport. Real situation. Somebody's wearing a very beautiful dress. And then I say, excuse me, you dress very beautifully, very elegant. You're beautiful. Is that okay? No? Okay, yeah, we have difference of opinions on this one. It's interesting. Now, what about this one? Hey girl, beautiful dress. Is that okay? Now suddenly it becomes no. It's the way we say it, right? Okay, it's the same, like it's a very beautiful dress. And then, hey girl, it's a very beautiful dress. See that? Okay, linguistics, yeah? You can study that there. But there is this thing called the cat calling. Now the cat calling can go like this. In Indonesia, we know cat calling, right? Hey pretty, yeah, nice hair, for example. And you can exchange that hair with other body parts. Okay, I don't want to mention it here. It's streamed live on YouTube or Facebook. But there is another form of catcalling. In Islam, we say greetings of peace by saying what? Assalamu alaikum. It means peace to you. Peace be on to you. And it's so common. Assalamu alaikum, assalamu alaikum. Just we say, how are you, how are you? But men do catcalling also by saying, for example, there is this beautiful woman with the Muslim clothing. And then the man will say, Assalamu alaikum. Just out of the blue, just because they are with a group of men and that woman is walking alone. It's also a form of catcalling using the word and the name of religion. Okay? So it's also a very, very low level catcalling. Now, but some people normalize that. Some cultures think that it's just okay. Now, the reason why I'm presenting this to you with that kind of engagement in you is because I want to show the difference of good and bad, the consideration of morals, what is good and what is bad. It's different in individual, it's different among cultures. Now, I want you to think, how do we define self? What is good for ourselves? What is bad for ourselves? Where do we get our source of good and bad? You know that we don't eat pork, right? In Muslim. Do you know that? Okay. Why? Because of, you might say, the teaching of the religion. Do we rationalize that? If we say, oh, it is unhealthy, but in countries where the meat of pigs are consumed, they live just as healthy as those who don't. They even have higher life expectancy rate. If we say that, oh, the pigs eat everything. No, there are pigs that are really like well bred, fed, and they don't eat everything. So notice that here there is axiomatic statement that is taken by the Muslims. For example, you don't eat pigs, and we don't. We just take it as a truism, and we can think, we can learn, we can mention other teachings in religions that are taken just because we have to believe it, and we cannot rationalize it. And in my religion, it's called iman. We believe it. We question it later. We don't put some logical game in it, because some matters are not meant to be rationalized because it is beyond thinking. We believe that is true. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up, because our ethics, or the source of morality, can come from two sources. And this is what I'm going to speak about. And you can relate to every conversations that you just had on that paper. Oh, and then by the way, that's my name, and then that's my contact. If you have questions or want to be friends after this. He who runs alone will win the race, say people from the US. Better to be a fool with the crowd than wise by oneself, says the Mexicans. Matibay ang walis palibasay magkabiksan. Sorry, this is my magkabikit. A broom is sturdy because its strands are tightly bound. Is it from the Filipino? Oh yeah. Berat sama dipikul, ringan sama dijinjing. Please rate my translation in Indonesian. If it's heavy, we carry it on our shoulder. If it's light, we carry it together by our hands. What do this tell us? If you runs alone, you will win the race. I think it's the essence of a race. You run alone. If you go there with together, what does it tell us? The individual interest? Maybe. Better to be a fool with the crowds than wise by oneself. Some people will not agree with this. Do you want to be stupid as a group? But then we have to challenge, maybe there's a deeper meaning behind this Mexican proverb. And then, matibay ang walis palibasa magkabikis. Now, the broom is sturdy because its strands are tightly bound, because it's unified, right? We do have this one as well. Yeah, we also used broom as the metaphor for unity. And then in Indonesia, we say, okay, heavy, light, we carry it together. Okay, symbolizes the collective enthusiasm, collective energy there. So what is self? Now, you can just ask this deeper question before we go into the examples. Are we independent, autonomous, and responsible for our own actions? Do we have, people say, the free will? Are we motivated by merely personal goal or rewards? Think about the moment last time you do a good thing. Did you do that because you want to do it for somebody, or you do it for yourself? Or are you motivated by rewards, or because you want to keep the harmony? Did you help your mother this morning because you don't want her to get mad at you, or because you want to help the mother? Serious question. Is being good altruistic or egoistical? Altruistic means you do something for the sake of people and nothing else. Sincere, no self-interest. Egoistic will say that everything that we do is from ego, from us. We help people just because we want to make ourselves feel better and more happy, more well-being and all that. They don't mean that they should be called one thing is better than the other. No, it is just how the experts think about goodness. Is harmony in a group more important than the achievement of personal goals? We have to engage with this conversation. Oh, wait. Okay, so discuss the following. I need my Filipino friends. Is it true that some Filipinos have replaced the gesture of mano, the kissing hand? Do you have this? With the beso beso, a cheek to cheek kiss. So is it true? In some areas we still kiss hands? No. Tell me if you still do that to the elders. Do you still kiss hands? Like this? Can you please do it now? Like, oh, like that. Okay, right. Yeah. Indonesians can also do that. Like that? Okay. But do you do cheek to cheek? Men to men do that? Oh, no, okay, that's fine. What about women to women? What about men to a woman? Sometimes. Okay, right. Okay, I'm just curious. What about this one? Your parents might let you marry the person you love, but your tita and tito don't give the blessing for several reasons. How will you react? The parents are okay. Hey, go marry that handsome. What about if I'm just questioning here. I'm just asking the position, the importance of tita and tito in your family. Are they really, really as important as the parents? Okay. I will. Oh yeah, tita and tito are sad. Okay, because I read that extended family in the Philippines is as important as the core family. Okay, but not in marriage. Okay. Tita and Tito can just come or not come to the wedding, right? Yeah, as long as they bring a lot of pesos. Oh, pesos, yeah. Bayanihan, helping others without expecting anything in return. Do you still have this concept? Okay. We do have gotong royong as well in Indonesia. It means working together to reach one common goal for the benefit of everyone. So it's almost the same. Bayanihan means literally carrying house, right? Like you carry the house. We do have that as well. When our house was carryable. Yeah. Now it is just not possible to carry the house. What? Well, okay. Now you see where I'm going here, right? The collective and the individual. Come on. Ayo. Okay. What about an American? An American father said, I can bear the disappointment of my son marrying a man, but I cannot bear the loss of a son. It is actually from a friend of mine. Yeah, a friend of mine. So the son married a man, and then because he was a conservative, he said no to it. But then the son said, and then I'm no longer your son. And then he said, no, I rather lost my dignity than losing a son. Okay, so he gave up. And then yes, okay, and then they're still family. They're intact as a family, but the father lost that sense of something that he believes that okay, the marriage should be between men and women. I know it's sensitive that I'm talking. I'm very aware of what I'm saying here now, okay, and when I'm speaking. But I am a lecturer. I have to talk about what's happening without having a moral judgment in it. It is just a fact. It is just an information. It's how you respond to the information that matters. So I'm sorry if I offend anything here. Universities have bars for everyone to drink, the bars, the alcoholic bars. Even in seminars, they serve wine to be consumed in modest quantity. And why not in the Philippines or Indonesia? Do you know what? I remember my seminar, I had like a half bottle of wine. And then why? Because it helps us concentrate. They say it's like nice, like not in a large quantity, but why? Oh, because it can intoxicate you. No, you're better. You feel better. But why not? Okay, so let's see. Let's see why it is bad, why it is good. My original question. Why do babies in the US have their own room? Did you have your own rooms when you were babies? Really? Did you sleep at Tita Tito's house? Okay. Um, Indonesians, did you have rooms when you were babies? No? Okay. Yeah, I didn't have that either. Now, this is the collective culture. And see if you belong to this one. The nail that stands out will get hammered, say the Japanese. Sheep separated will be eaten by the wolf, says the Turkish. No wisdom without the group, says the Mongolians. And these are all the proverbs that show it all. In the collective culture, the group decision is to be consulted by the individual and should be taken as the utmost decision to be held very highly. That's wrong, that's a typo. Which means that the family decisions have to be respected and even taken as the utmost decision. Let's ask ourselves, how many times we've had arguments with the parents over something, the difference in the opinions, and we have to give up because the parents say no. Every day? Once a week? Yeah, some people might not be in contact with the parents because of the difference. Yes. In collective culture, harmony, filial piety. Yeah, piety is the religious loyalty, respect for elders, equitable distribution of rewards, so that's it should be the prime values. Are the prime values. Reflect on this. How we value the religious teaching in saying what is true and what is not. Space and privacy. The lack of privacy in households and a community may result in people concealing their feelings, speak softly, emotionally restrained. Now, I'm going to give you an example. My mother and my father, they sleep in the living room where we also eat. Like when I was living with my parents, we live there, we eat there, we sleep there, and yes, it's very communal. Now, what happens then? In Indonesia, the biggest ethnic group is Javanese. Java, it's not Japanese, Javanese. Java, the people of Java. Java have a stereotype of speaking softly, and they don't speak too much about their emotions. They conceal the emotions and they use metaphors, say indirect communication, and many other characteristics of the Javanese based on the observation of the anthropologist and the sociologist. They say that it is a result of the structure of the house, that we don't have rooms. So whenever we do something private, we have to do it silently. So we speak softly. Yeah? And imagine those who live in a village, living far away from each other. You will notice that they speak in a very high volume. Why? Because when they want to ask for something from the next house, for example, if you need some salt for your cooking, and then you're just gonna scream, "Hey, you got some salt in there?" Yeah, and then you speak louder. So it means that the tradition there is sometimes influenced by the shape of our physical building. This is the pivotal unit is the group, yeah, because the group has the utmost power over individual. Communication is intuitive, complex, and impressionistic. Content of communication is to be wrapped in relationship building manners. I'm gonna give you also a workshop on writing scholarship essays. Who here are you interested in, let's say, studying to United States? What about to Australia? Yeah. Okay, if you're interested, we will learn how to write the essays. But because they are in Western countries, I have to teach you how to write in Socratic manner, saying what's general and then go to the specifics. But this is not in the collective culture. When you write email to your professors, what do you say first? The greetings, and then also say, I hope you are all well. And then do you introduce yourself first? Okay, and then yes. What do you say when you send, let's say, do you use group chat, right? Messengers? And then when you say that you are sick, you have Indonesian text, for example, when you text your docents or lecturers, we have so many sentences there telling that you are sick. It goes something like this. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The greetings to you, my teacher. I hope I'm not disturbing your time. And if I do, I'm sorry. I know that this is late, but I would like to ask a question if I may. Are you coming to the class tomorrow? I'm sorry if this question is disturbing your time. And then you give that emoji. You know that emoji? Do you have that too? Oh, we're brothers and sisters now. Okay. Right. Yeah, that's what we do. We use the words to build the relationship and we put the content secondary. Yeah? It's called the circuitous logic. Less important information will set the stage for the most important parts. I have two ways in writing to professors around the world. If I speak to a Japanese professor, I will do it differently than speaking to a German professor or speaking to an American professor. Okay? And we can talk about that in the workshop that's coming tomorrow. Just a little. Business is relational and collaborative, subordination of data. Information may be taken as factual, but who says the fact have a strong influence? For example, imagine if somebody says something true, yeah? But that information comes from different people. It has different influence, okay? Let's say your friend says, oh, I don't like your hair. It's true. Let's say your hair is a mess, for example. But then somebody very, very important to you, or a celebrity, or a very important person says the same thing, probably you're gonna just go to the hair salon and just fix it. Here, the statistics might come from different person. Let's say you hate, so you think about two leaders, political party B, A and B. They come with this statistics saying that the employment rate is now higher. But you like them, you believe them. But this says the same thing, but you don't believe them. So it means here, what I'm saying here is that it's so relational that the important information, the fact can be very, very contextual depending on who says it. And this is the individual culture, and let's see if you relate to this one. The pivotal unit is individual. Life decisions on career, selection of marriage partners, and other important decisions are made by individuals. Let me get back to that first question, the ethic question. In individual culture, the right or wrong is decided by what I feel as improving my well-being and avoiding the pain. If I want to marry somebody, and that somebody regardless of the sex, it is my right to do that because I think it improves my well-being. I don't have to abide by the group decisions in deciding whom I can marry. That's what the difference. Then life decisions, selection of marriage partners, and other important decisions are made by the individuals as long as I'm not causing any bad things to other people. That's why you drink, not you drink. Some people drink in the West. But are they allowed to drink in the park? No. Are they allowed to drink 2 meters outside the bar? No. They can drink there in a designated place. Individual identity. Whose right is priority? Do groups even have rights? Maybe the individuals have the right, they say, in the individual culture. Breakable contracts. If the relationship threatens individual goals, the relationship can be broken. And this means that, okay, I want to achieve something as an individual, but if you are my family and you don't like it, maybe we're not that family. Maybe you're just the impediment or just the hindrance to my goal. Yeah, I'm picturing this like it's so bad, but it's not. It is really about negotiating the values between what we want and what the group wants. Now, space and privacy with individual bedrooms, the culture of knocking. Do your parents knock before coming to your room? Yes. Do people not knock? No? Do you have lock in your bedroom? Can you lock your bedroom? Okay, some bedrooms in Indonesia, they don't have the locks. And you're not allowed to. Some, not all. We do have privacies. Now, face the exit door when standing in crowd. We try this, yeah, in the West, so you don't like that. You just face the exit door. It's polite everywhere, but I'd like to note that in the West, in the Western countries, Australia, Western Europe, and then also the United States, in Canada, they have a very rigid body in the elevator. So you just stand there, you just don't make some conversations. Maybe you make conversations, but most of the time people don't. No police patrolling to hotels sweeping unmarried lovebirds or couples. And I discussed this one. Catcalling is considered punishable, not just impolite, but punishable. If I say something in the workplace that threatens personal privacy and personal dignity, I can be fired from my job. And there we have it. Wait. Communications. I told you that the Indonesians texting the lecturer. Clear and direct message is preferred in the Western style of writing. Linear cause and effect, thought pattern, deductive text. So deductive text, for example, says something like this. If in the essay says, they ask you to mention 3 things that are good about you. Do you know what to do? You go with the first sentence. There are 3 things that are good about me. I am caring, I am smart, I am strong-willed. And then you elaborate. But some writings just don't go like that. Mention 3 things, and then you say, one day I was walking down the street and I have a helpless cat. I am kind. One day somebody says I am weak, and then I prove them wrong. I am strong-willed. So you go with the details first and then close it with a very strong statement. And then I think that's called the inductive writing. Okay, right, so different. Personal accountability, claim your accomplishment and assume responsibilities for a mistake. Have you ever thought that you cannot say something really good about yourself because you don't want to sound too proud of yourself? Yeah, yeah. But in the individual culture, you are driven to claim your accomplishment and assume responsibilities for mistake. Now, business is transactional. I'm gonna give you a question here. You are a boss. You have a big company and you are a boss. Now you need two more employees or one more employees. One applicant is your brother and he scored 75 in the test. And another one is a stranger from Indonesia. You don't know this women. And she scored 90. Who will you pick? Okay, the 91 or your brother? No, just be honest about this. It's your brother. Come on, 75 the score. Will you pick your brother? Sour pants. Will you pick your brother? Will you pick the strangers with 90 score? No? Okay, you're thinking. Oh yeah, you really think you're the boss, right? Okay. Now, in that business is transactional means that it's business first, relationship second. Now, this is the summing up, yeah, the summary. In collective culture, it's relationship oriented. In individual culture, it's transaction. It's the brother problem. Content first, context first, which means that the statistic has to be read by the statistic, not by the one who says the statistics. Collaborative and competitive. I've explained this one, and flexible time and linear time. We talk about this one, that the Western or the individual culture, they see time as linear. It's never going to be repeated. So that's why we have to be on time in everything. Now, I've been talking like this is good, this is bad. I've been talking like, oh, Indonesians are collective, Filipinos are collective, and Americans are individualistic. I'm not insinuating that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that cultures are seldom monolithic and completely uniform. It means that here we might have people who are very individualistic in nature. You think that right or wrong is according to you, and you have the right to decide what is wrong or right. Maybe you have a deeper individualistic tendency in you, not because it is egoistical, not because it is selfish, but you value self as the pivotal unit of right or wrong. You have the ethical consideration that the right or wrong is according to you, not from the collective of the group. It's not that you disrespect the group. It's just that you don't let the group decide your choice most of the time. Gender may influence values even within individual culture. Women tend to value attachment, connection, and caring. I'm not stereotyping women here, but I'm just saying in an individual culture where we think that everything is logical and linear, no, sometimes gender can really influence the value. And generalization should be taken cautiously. Whenever we generalize something, please be cautious. Indonesians are like this, Filipinos are like this. No. Please, we have to keep one thing in mind in intercultural communication. Remember that we need to solve bigger problems by collaborating together. So what we need is the question number 14 there, universal values. I believe that one universal value that can unite us is respect. For the right to be people, to be treated equally. And that if we respect people, we can know people better and we can love better. So I'm going to close with that. Thank you very much.
This marvelous po, Sir Jonette, okay, for providing everyone here at CBCA Auditorium a vast amount of knowledge about how we can come up, we can come up together across cultural contexts. And also special thanks to our Indonesian ICTV students for helping out during the activity. And because not only because of because of the contributions today by Sir Jeanette. Arguably, you can say that everyone here would like to dig more about intercultural communication. But you don't have to worry about that because Sir Jeanette would be more than willing to accommodate all of you in our next portion, which will be the open forum. So as you can see, we do have microphones along the stairways for you to use. All you have to do is to hold on one of those microphones as long as you like, okay, for you to raise questions or to express some concerns or any idea that you would like to share for this morning's open forum. So I would like to hold on the mic first to ask some queries, express thoughts or concern about intercultural communication. Okay, so kindly go ahead, grab one of those mics.
Oh, I don't think it is a cultural problem, right? Who comes first? Okay. That brave first person.
Okay, I guess all the mics are working. So all we need to find out is who would like to go in first. How about from this line?
And if you are driven by personal reward, for example, if you ask questions, you can get the highest grade in the class. And I think you're very individual. Yeah, just go with it. Yeah. Or you share stories about you, like what do you think? Are you more collective or you're more individualistic? And Indonesians can also ask questions as well. We have somebody here. Sorry.
Okay, hello everyone. Good morning. My name is Rizky, and I'd like to ask to you, sir. So, for example, we have a situation when we do a summit in a place that there's a lot of people from a lot of culture, ASEAN, Europe, etc. In one occasion. Do they have something to share? For example, like the common ground rules to respect each other or how to communicate? Because we cannot just find one culture to get. Yeah, you get it.
Okay, yes, thank you very much, Sir Rizky, for it's a question that we all need to answer together, right? Now, this is the summit. Let's see the situation here. Now, what is the first thing that when you meet the Indonesians? Are you conscious about how to shake hands? You conscious? Like you think about it? Like, do you, for example, the men in the Filipinos, for example, here, the boys, did you think about like shaking hands? Like, did you think about it? Like you took some time, like, oh, should I do it? Should I not? Yeah? Okay. Now, I think the first here is the universal values question. I say respect. Now, if in the case of shaking hands is pretty universal unless it is made not universal by the person. And usually we will say, if you don't want to shake hands, how do you do it? Can you please help me with that, Nita? When for example, you don't want to shake hands, can you please stand up? Yeah, and then how do you do it? Please face the audience. If you don't, if you have to be respected by not standing, let's say see, look at that hand. It's a sign of respectful rejection. Okay, so that's the first. Respect means accepting that some people don't want to do that, and if that's okay with you, and then that's all right. Okay, so when Nita, if she doesn't want to shake the hands, maybe the respect here is to not shake the hand and think that because we're not offended by that, we're not hurt by that. It's just the difference in the culture. Okay? So my answer there is that respect is the first key. And then the honesty not even there. Like for example, would you say, for example, if you say that somebody's shoes are just ugly, would you say like, okay, I think your shoes are ugly? Would you say that? Even though you're being honest? No, I don't think you're being honest. You're being disrespectful. And it's about the taste of shoes. Yeah? So here, respect can spread along the way of this goodness. The basic there is the universal value that we question here. Because not many people will think that, for example, did you know that in India, for example, if the husband died, the wife should go with him? Not now, it was banned. But it used to be good. It used to be the norm. Remember that the norms, many of them are dead now, no longer here, because we no longer do that. Because it used to be good. I'm saying here, there's thing called relative, like moral relativism, that some things are good according to one person, might not be good for others. It's relative. But I think respect here is one thing that we can hold on to as a universal value. So in a situation where you have different cultures, you have to learn about the respect of the and one of the form of the respect is learning what is allowed and what is not allowed. I learned before. Did we have a pre-departure orientation on Filipino culture? Yes, we did have that because we tried to respect by first learning about that. And by learning, we will get understanding and by understanding, we will reach to what is our topic today, the intercultural communication, the effective intercultural communication. I think that's my response to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Rizky. Anyone else?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, sir. I'm Abigail Temporal, taking up Bachelor of Secondary Education major in English, a third-year college student under the College of Education and College of Development Education, rather. As we all know, there are several non-verbal language or non-verbal signals, rather, and gestures that could have lead to misinterpretation, most especially when two people from different countries are talking to each other. And on a personal note, I actually avoid using non-verbal signals because it could lead to misinterpretation, especially when talking to Belgians and Indonesians, and also in Thailand, because they're could having different misinterpretation to that certain signal. May I just ask if there are any advantages to using nonverbal signals in intercultural communication? If yes, what are they? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. And I'm sorry, can I get your nickname? Alfie.
Avi, sir, as in AVE.
Okay, Abby. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, Abby. I always tell my students, if you introduce yourself, use your nickname because it is sometimes challenging to remember the full name. What if I tell you, like, for example, oh, my name is Ziskia Patinisa Harinisa. Did you get that? Okay, no. No, I'm sorry. I'm politely saying my opinion. I hope it's not offensive to you, Abby. Okay, so is there an advantage of using nonverbal communication. The reason why we have nonverbal communication is because it strengthens the message of the verbal communication, right? The reason it's helping me with speaking when I move my hands, it makes the gesture, right? For example, if I'm away like this, for example, if I don't want to attract the attentions of the others, I'm just gonna say, excuse me, that, right? And then I will do this, right? And then I will do this. Now, notice the difference between the wait, calling the waiter. If you're the waitress, for example, yeah. Then I say, do I look like a bossy or just normal? Normal? It's bossy. For example, bossy. Okay. And then what my this is what I'm saying here is that the nonverbal gesture, it helps when the verbal doesn't do the job. It's there. Okay? Now, if I'm ordering some other food, I would say I'm just gonna lift the plate or the bottle and say, let's say this is the bottle here. Okay? Then I'm just gonna do this one like that. Means what? I need one of these. Okay? Without screaming to you. Hey, bring me one of this. No, you don't do that. So you have to know the etiquette of ordering drinks, right? So what else? Let's say you mentioned Thailand, and can you please like, get closer to the mic and please tell me a little bit about that? Do you know any gestures in Thailand that might be interpreted?
Honestly, none, sir. But when I am talking to a friend from Thailand, since I attended the Developing Cultural Competency last year, as it was spearheaded by North Carolina State University and
Oh
USA.
yeah,
I only attended it online. There are also participants from Thailand, and whenever I am talking to my own opinion using my gesture, um, they usually do not get what I mean, or there is one person there or one participant who told me that they do not understand me, and they do not, maybe they do not have the same interpretation to the gesture that I did.
Okay.
So they asked me to repeat it without using any nonverbal signal.
Okay, yeah. If I see the way your hands move when you speak, really helps you with
Yeah.
that, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
I usually do this and
Yes,
that.
yes. And
Whatever.
yeah, and some people are not used to it. Okay? And we see the Indian hand movements, yeah?
Yes, sir.
And also the Italian hand gestures as well. And then it's not just that, but the way you smile, for example, it sends the warmth of human
Yes.
interaction. Okay? Ma'am Carla danced yesterday. Remember? Yes. And did you see that she was not smiling at all? Why? She was sending a message. The dance is about a woman who was forced to get married by the tito, by the parents. Okay, right. So that's a nonverbal communication in dance. Right. So it's obvious that it is very central to human interaction because it's a symbol. Okay, we communicate through symbols, through the symbols that is made by the curve in our lips called smile, and also the movements of our hands. What about if my body is slouching? Oh, I told you my back pain. Okay, but I can be better like using power pose. Like power pose. Have you tried power pose before going to speech? Power pose is just you just pose like you're so powerful for 1 minute and tell yourself that you're not as bad as you think you are. You're not as bad as you think you are, and the power posture. And it also changes that, right? So what I'm saying here, it helps when the verbal communication is not effective. So you just do that hand gesture, and we learn how to do that so we can be respectful. The key to being respectful is just learning about the differences. And also, it's also the very, very crucial, the vital elements of communication to send the warmth of human interaction. So I'm just gonna go with the two here. It helps when the verbal communication doesn't help, and it helps to bolster the warmness of human interaction. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your insightful topic, most especially in the intercultural communication. And thank you to the College of Development Education for spearheading this and letting us be part of this. Thank you, po.
Thank you, Abby.
Thank you, Ma'am Abby. How about from this side of the auditorium? Yeah, we have to balance things out.
Oh yeah, we have the gentleman in there. Yeah. Okay.
So hello, good morning po. So I am Gian Patrick Tormes. You can call me Gian. And I am from the CDE taking a Bachelor of Secondary Education major in math. So my question is, since we are studying our subject requirement or the ASEAN and Indonesia and Philippines is part of the ASEAN. So since we have similarities when it comes to cultures and beliefs and education, the Indonesia and Philippines. So my question is, what is the best practices of the Indonesia when it comes to education? Since there are instances or there are times now we can have internationalization with Indonesia. So that would be my question on what is the best practices of Indonesia that the Philippines somehow don't have.
Okay, yeah, GN, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, GN, for that question. Now the question is really about the best practice of Indonesian education compared to the Philippines. So probably what Indonesia does better than the Philippines. That may be one way of looking at that. I've always been critical to the education of Indonesia. I can quote the rate of our literacy and how the Philippines are better in some areas but not in the others. For example, the English proficiency of the Philippines is way higher than the English proficiency of the Indonesians. So that's the first. But I think in Indonesia, if I can say there is something that is being improved right now, it's the literacy rate. The basic literacy rate is getting better. The stunted growth. Do you know the stunted growth? So some people might be born with shorter height and then smaller waist circumference, that also smaller brains. Not significantly, but it affects the development of the kids in the first 1,000 days of life. It's called the stunted growth. And if you are born stunted, it is most likely that you will be left behind in your working memory. For example, the working memory of a stunted child can be 1 year behind the counterparts who was not born in stunted situation. What I'm saying here, Indonesia is doing it's in its course of fixing that. And now we have a new curriculum. It gives more freedom. For example, the reason why we can be here is because we have a new curriculum that gives the freedom to study in other universities and study in other faculties as well. So if you're studying math and you think that as a mathematician, I'm going to be dealing with engineering problem when I'm in postgrad, for example. But should I build a machine that will destroy the jobs of other people? And that's the ethical question. Maybe you want to learn that in the philosophy department, because every engineers and biologist and chemist and also the physicist, they don't deal with only the natural world. They also have to ask the ethical questions of their inventions, the machines that they create. So if you want to learn that, you can study in the philosophy department. And then maybe you want to know the social implication of it. So maybe you want to study in the sociology department. Now, in Indonesia, it is possible to do that. It was not possible before. So I think you've done this. I don't know if you've done this, but if you have done this many, many years ago, please tell me you haven't, because that kind of make us feel like, okay, we're just new in this. But I'm saying that Indonesia is improving its education. If I have to refer to our income per capita, based on one website that I read last night, Indonesia is better than the Philippines by a small margin. But our life expectancy is higher in the Philippines. The number of people who smoke in Indonesia is way higher in the Philippines. The rate of literacy is higher here. Yeah. So Indonesia and the Philippines, they are very, very similar. And many are better. Many aspects of Indonesians are better than the Philippines, and but also the Philippines have some challenges there. The rate of political stability, I have checked last night, it is better in Indonesia compared to the Philippines. And I think we can understand why. But going back to that, I will say that the freedom of learning from other departments and other disciplines is something that I praise a lot in the current administration. And I hope that we can expand that not just nationally, but also internationally. So I look forward to seeing you in our university, Mr. G. And thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Pastor.
Thank you so much, Sir Gian. And talking about intercultural relationships, Sir Jeanette, we do have BSU students or students from other state acting as interns in our department. So probably if you could accommodate one of them. So I can see here Sir Jensen.
Hello. Yep.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jensen F. Paris, and I am a student intern, having BSED, Bachelor in Secondary Education, same as most of the majors here. My major is English. So since I'm introduced here, I would like to have a question to Sir as well. It is quite opinionated, but my views on respect, what I want to ask of you, sir, is do you think respect is always gonna work in every circumstance?
West what?
Uh, I mean respect, sir.
Oh, respect is always work in all
In
circumstances.
many circumstances.
Okay.
Because I think that it would not always work because sometimes not everyone will always understand the way things we understand things.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
that's what I
Thank you very much, my dorm mate. So we live in the same dorm. We had a very we, we we had a very good conversation last time that I'm not gonna share here because it was heated and opinionated. But let me maybe first, whenever we have argument, we have to start with something. We have to start with the definition of the term. Okay? And the second one is we avoid straw manning. Straw manning argument is when we misinterpret the argument of somebody just because you want to attack that argument. And the different straw manning, another side is called steel manning. Steel manning is when you strengthen the argument of your opponent so that you can have a very healthy conversation. So I'm going to start with the definition of respect here. It starts with the right. If I understand your right and if I want to value your right as also as valuable as mine, and then that's the respect. But probably if I can still man your definition of respect, can I still man it? I will make it stronger. Are you saying that are you saying that the question here means that not everybody is not everybody understands that when we respect them, they will respect us back, or they don't value that respect because of, for example, it makes us look weak. Okay.
Both, sir.
Okay, both. Okay, yes. Now I understand it. Okay, yes. For example, let me talk a little bit about politics. Yeah. Okay. If a country is at war with another country, and all this country is done is just okay. I'm gonna respect whatever you wish. I'm gonna respect your decision on that. I'm gonna respect this, and then you have the problem of power in there. You have the problem of power, the fight of the power there. Now, if you want to influence people and make friends, for example, if I want to make friends with you, what I'm gonna do is I see you as somebody who is worthy of my respect. Despite that we are probably different in age, maybe like 10 years, right? Maybe more than that, maybe less. But because I pay my respect to you, it means that if you have the right just to express your opinions, but in a way that is respectful towards me as well. But it will, if I somehow end up saying that, okay, now I have more power than you because you respect me. It is you give me that, and then if I then act like I'm not respectful to you because I think I have the dominant power, and then I will reflect that to you, right? My attitude, and then you will lose respect of me because I act badly towards you. And I think this is how human interact here. Now you no longer respect me because if I acted badly towards you because I think I have more powers towards you. So I don't I'm saying here is that if you respect that person, it is not your responsibility to regulate what that person's response is. And then because you now get the signals of his feedback towards you, now you can adjust your respect, because I think respect is earned, not forced. Yeah, you cannot force people to respect you, right? You earn the respect. You cannot just say, for example, you know those leaders, we know those leaders, right? Those leaders who say, respect me, respect me, respect me, but they don't show it. They don't act like they are worthy of respect. Yeah. So I think respect is earned. And another one is that, are we worried that other people might perceive us to be weak? And I think, again, if respect, but then you don't respect criminals, you don't respect bad people. We punish them and we make them stop being disrespectful. And I think that's what our leaders are doing in terms of the sovereignty of our nation. We don't respect people who interfere with our region. So I think in that note, I'm just gonna stop there because it can get very political from this. Yeah? Right. So thank you very much, and I look forward to talking more with you later in our dorm. Thank you. Thank you, Jen. Yes.
Thank you, Sir Johnson. And as much as Dr. Jeanette would like to accommodate each and every of us in this open forum, we'll now come down to the last one. So this will be the last one, sir. Okay, so we call on Sir Gian for the last.
So, good morning, selamat pagi.
Wow, thank you. Selamat pagi, Bapak.
Okay, so I was tasked by my teacher in one of our subject, which is the ASEAN, to report the educational forum of Indonesia. And I learned that Indonesia is an archipelago, and the government offers the non-formal, informal, and the formal education. So in informal, the parents are allowed to teach his or her child and the same subject in school. So my question is, it is allowed for a parent to teach his or her child even though he or she doesn't have a degree?
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. So in relation to this formal, non-formal, and informal education, you're talking about the homeschooling, right?
Yes.
Okay. The homeschooling, do you have that in the Philippines? No? Yes or no? Is it allowed Okay, here's how it works. I can homeschool my kids. If I have kid, for example, let's say he will be, I will teach him anything that the students learn at school, formal school, math, English, arts, everything. But later, the kids will have to take some kinds of certification that they will be tested. The test that the students in primary schools will get in normal schools. So if they pass, and it means that they achieve the graduate competence. The question of whether if you have a degree, if you don't, yes, you can. You can teach even though you don't have a degree. But it is your consequence, it's your responsibility to make sure that the children will benefit from your teaching because they have to pass the the that certification, that test, the exam that they will also get. So those who are homeschooled and those who do the formal schooling, they both need to do the same kind of exam. It's a little bit customized. And in Indonesia, it is possible to do the homeschooling for all levels. And then Ivy Leagues like Yale, Harvard, Columbia University, they actually receive students who are homeschooled. So no problem with the informal, non-formal, or formal education graduates because they have that exam that will level your achievement. And yes, probably I should have another presentation next time about the education system of Indonesia. Yes, we learn this from what's happening in the West. Okay, and I think homeschooling has been done not only in the West, and I think it is the first form of education. It is through our mothers, right? The mothers and fathers. So we were homeschooled before we are formal school. Yeah, thank you. Um, can one last quickly? Okay. She's very enthusiastic.
Um, is it still morning? Good morning, everyone. I'm Aisha. I'm the third year student from English department at University of Mataram. I have a question. I'm really bad at remembering. Maybe my hippocampus is just small, so I'm bringing my notes here. You mentioned about moral relativism in the previous, to answer the previous question. So I want to know what's your view about it, and does it mean that there is no concept of correct moral principles or objective moral? That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that very philosophical question, Miss Aisha. Okay, I'm just gonna go with the straight answer here. My stand, when we say moral relativism, it is a stance in the philosophy that you say that no moral universal exists. Everything is subject to context. Everything is subject to cultural differences. But the question is, do I believe in universal truth, or not the truth, universal moral value? Now, the universal moral value here, it depends on whether you have some grounding in your ethical consideration. For example, do you believe that we are driven by the need to achieve well-being, happiness, and to avoid pain? Do you believe that we always try to avoid something painful? Yeah? We don't want somebody to slap us on the face because it is painful for our physical and also dignity, right? And we always want to eat breakfast because we want to have the well-being so that we can be fresh. It is a very human nature. Now, I'm gonna take that as my axiom in the or the basic belief of my good and bad problem, good and bad situation. So I do believe you ask about my opinion on this. I am afraid that if we say that all morals is subject to context, we can, for example, if there is a culture that does baby sacrifice, do you know that there are cultures who still sacrifice babies? They kill the babies. Now, we can say this as a moral relativism, that they think that it is good to do that. But I say that it is not good for the well-being of the babies, and it is painful for the babies. And now, because I believe in the universal value of not killing people, I can say that I respect the lives of the babies because I respect the well-being, and I don't want the babies to be painful. Now, that's why I am opposed to the idea of the extreme moral relativism, because I think that there is a moral universal that we can abide by. So it depends on where you get your values from. And I think basing the moral consideration based on the consideration of well-being and pain, we always try to improve the well-being of people and try to reduce the suffering and pain in people. And I think that's why we do education, to improve the well-being and to reduce pain in people. So that's my response. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to those who participated in the open forum. And though your back hurts so much, would like to request you further to stay here at the center of the stage for the awarding ceremony. And joining our resource speaker here on stage to award the certificate of recommendation with our request, Dr. Cheryl Montales, our international linkage coordinator, together with Professor Mary Grace Pulverisa. Allows first to read the citation. Republic of the Philippines Central Bicol State University of Agriculture Certificate of Recognition is hereby awarded to Dr. Ahmad Junaidi as resource person during the lecture series Topic 1, Intercultural Communication, held on March 16, 2023 at University Auditorium. Given the 16th day of March 2023 at Central Bicol State University of Agriculture, San Jose, Pili, Camarines Sur. Signed, Alberto N. Naperi, SUC President. Another round of applause please, to Dr. Ahmad Junaidi. And at this juncture, we would like to request everyone. Okay, so at this juncture, we'll be having an opportunity to share mementos with our resource speaker for us to keep for posterity. And this would be the order of how the photo ops will be done. So first, we would like to request here on stage our CDE faculty to pose with Dr. Junaidi. So may invite Ma'am Cecil, so we can see Ma'am Eileen. Ma'am Lisel is here. Coming down, okay. So then afterwards, I would like to invite everyone to join us here all together.
Everyone else, okay, can you put us in the screens? The rest okay, so we'll call first our Indonesian ICT students. Okay, let us hear our names.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have just reached the conclusion of the first of the series of collaboration lectures between CPSUA and UNRAM. We expect everyone to be back here tomorrow for another fruitful learning encounter with Sir Jeanette. Diyos mabalo sa inyo gabos, terima kasih banyak.